How is it going? Welcome to today's tutorial where I'm going to show you exactly how to give any container whatever kind of shadow you want. Whether it's one like this one right here, where it's really far away, or maybe something more subtle like this. So if you don't know how to do that, just stick around. Here we are in the home.dart file, and as you can see, there is absolutely no shadow action going on behind our teal little box here. So without any further ado, let's just get straight into it. I'm going to remove this color property right here because we're going to use the decoration property. And if you don't know by now, if you use the color property and you also use the decoration property, then your app will crash. But anyway, once you are here in decoration and you have already applied the decoration class, there is a very useful box shadow property right here. And I don't know if you noticed that, but it takes a list of type box shadow. So we need to go ahead and just do the squared brackets because it's a list, and then we use the box shadow class because you guessed it, it's a box shadow type. So now that we're here, we just need to know what we're doing. And before I go any further, let me just add the color that we had before, otherwise you won't really see the container. Colors.teal accent, I'm gonna hit save, and as you can see, there is kind of already a shadow going on, except it sucks and you can't see it. But that's fine, because we know exactly how to manipulate it. And we do it like so. First of all, we pick a color for the shadow. And I'm just gonna start with black. I don't ever use black, I use gray, but I'm just gonna show you black because it's more obvious. And now if you do control space, you see the other properties that we'll get to use. And we're going to start with a spread radius. And if you use control Q, it'll tell you right here, it's the amount that the box should be inflated prior to applying the blur. So pretty much how far you want it to spread. So let's just give it like 2 and see what happens, shall we? As you can see, it increases the radius of the shadow, which right now looks like a border because we picked a very strong color like black. If you give this 10, it becomes even wider or bigger, however you want to call it. And then you have the blur radius. Now this is essentially what gives it that shadow style because it blurs the edges. Like if we do 10 here, it's going to become blurry and it's going to look more like a shadow. But the values I usually use is 5 for spread radius and 7 for blur radius, but feel free to experiment on your own to see what you prefer. So if I hit save, now it looks better. And now the next part is the most important part, which is the offset, which means that you're essentially deciding where your shadow is going to be placed. And once again, control Q tells you that it takes a type offset, which fortunately is really just typing in offset. And once you're here, you have 2 positional arguments, and it tells you right there, the X and the Y. And that's essentially, you're defining the position of the shadow based on its X and Y axis. So first let's try 20 and then also 20, why not? Hit that save button, and as you can see, it moved all the way there. If we do 10, it goes a little bit closer to the box. I think you understand how this works by now. And these numbers are a little bit too much. Something like 0x and 3y would really be enough. That is if you want the shadow to be surrounding the whole box. If you want it to be more to the side, then you just do something like this. Maybe give this a 5, something of the sort. Maybe you don't even want this shadow here and here to show up. In that case, something like this. And then, as you can see, this shadow looks really ugly. So you can just do with opacity and then decide 50%. That's what 0.5 means. I hit save and it looks better. But I think that the gray color would look even better than the black color. But I'm just going to hit save and let you decide on your own. Personally, I feel like this is more subtle and looks better, but it's really up to you. And of course, if you want the effect I showed in the beginning, you just have to really increase this to something like this. And boom, it's way more apart than it was before. If that's what you're aiming for, you already know how to do it. Essentially, this is to style how it looks, and this is to position the shadow. And this, of course, is the color that you want the shadow to be. So as you just saw, it's actually quite simple to add a shadow to a container. And usually you can pretty much use a container to wrap anything you want. So this is a great way to add a very customizable shadow to whatever you want. So if you learned something new, please leave me a like. That's all I ask for. And subscribe in case you want to keep on learning more and more about Flutter. Thank you all so much for watching. This is Flutter Mentor, and out.